What's up, everybody? Marty Sleva here, and I'm here with Tristan Corbett.
Tristan, yes.
Tristan, yeah, I'm sorry. I mixed the C and the T. Product manager at Capcom for Strider. And we are here looking at Strider HD and the 360.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a demo we just recorded. We just played through it. And this is a lot of the same footage that we saw at Comic-Con, correct?
Yeah, so it's a kind of a similar slice of gameplay. We've added some extra beats to it as well, so there's a more extended boss fight at the end. But
definitely.
Yeah, this is sort of a similar slice.
Awesome. So you have this opening, this amazing moment where he comes in, kind of on the hang glider and has that sliding entry, and that I feel like, to me, and especially this moment right here, running downhill, very much this game is a celebration of what people loved about Strider in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, definitely, and throughout the game there's a lot of those little homages. So like that opening sequence is sort of reminiscent of like the original Strider game, and you see like the onion domes in the background and little touches like that sort of harken back to the original game. So the game has a lot of those little touches in it. So it's definitely kind of a love letter to the originals.
Sure. So I'm assuming like a lot of everyone on the team, I mean, you're going to have some people who grew up playing it as kids, as well as there are members of the team who worked on the originals.
Yeah, so we have some people in Japan who are attached to this as well, who have worked on the original game. So we have one of the original art directors who worked on the game, and other people on more of the design side who are overseeing stuff. So it's in pretty good hands, and definitely in the office as well. Just internally on the US side, we're all pretty big fans of the original.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so we saw here the first sort of that moment where you get the power up, and that's really that sort of brings back shades of like that first time in Metroid where you get the morph ball, and one of the big things that you guys pounced on when you showed it at Comic-Con was like, this is it's taking Strider into like the world of a Metroidvania.
Yeah, so there were definitely aspects of like the original. I think the NES version had sort of elements to that to it, and this is more of a fully expanded version of that. So it is one full map. The game world is one big cohesive world, so you'll kind of traverse that all in one go. There's no real like level gaps per se. And yeah, as you go throughout it, you acquire different abilities. So right there, we picked up the slide ability, which allows you to go under objects, and you can actually do an attack as well against enemies. We also picked up the reflect cipher, so right there I just shot a laser back at one of the turrets, which unlocked this door. So for the purposes of this demo, you acquire a lot of them pretty early, so this is like kind of a custom slice where we have a lot of the stuff available. Normally they're a bit more spread out, but for the demo we wanted to kind of show a lot of that stuff in action in like a really digestible slice. So
sure.
There's a lot more of that stuff.
And so it's going to be like, when we're playing the game early next year, it's going to be like, as we power up our character, we're going to gain access to new areas, much like the something like Super Metroid or Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of that stuff in there where it's like you'll see a door that maybe you can't unlock just yet, but you'll get a different ability, go back to that area once you're able to unlock it, and then get a different item or a power up or something like that. Cool. So a lot of that backtracking and exploration stuff is a big part of the gameplay.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit, look at this HUD here. So obviously the green bar in the upper left is your health. Can you tell us a little bit about what the red bar below it is? Yeah,
so the red bar is basically your cipher energy. So when you throw kunai, which is your projectile attack, that'll drain some of that energy. When you use the reflect cipher and you're actually reflecting shots, that will drain the energy, so you can't reflect things all day sort of indefinitely. It does drain it. So basically any additional power-ups you use in the game will drain that. So killing enemies will reward additional energy.
Okay, so if the better you do in combat, the more you're going to be, like, if you're able to make it through a battle without getting hit, you're going to be rewarded with, health and more sort of energy.
Yeah, exactly. And then for this particular boss fight, so we have in the bottom of the screen, you see what's essentially a combo meter. So as you do damage to enemies and avoid hits, that actually starts to fill up. So once it becomes completely full, your cipher will actually, the blade will essentially double in size.
Okay.
And you'll actually do double damage as well. So it definitely rewards you to play really precisely and to be pretty kind of quick on your toes. Very and cool. Avoid attacks as much as possible.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're playing this on the 360, but there's also, you guys confirmed next gen.
Yeah, so we have 5 platforms total. So 360, PS3, as well as PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Okay, very cool. So the game looks gorgeous right now. Like, what can someone expect if they're going to be getting it on the Xbox One or the PS4? Like, what sort of enhancements can they?
So we've definitely done. I mean, the graphics obviously are a big enhancement there. So we'll have much more robust anti-aliasing. It'll be native 1080p, 60 frames a second. We have kind of enhanced shadows and lighting models, stuff like that. The particles are a lot more rich as well. So we've definitely leveraged the hardware and really tried to make this, not just like here's just a port of the game, but we also really tried to take advantage of the hardware as best we could.
That's awesome. Yeah, and at the same time, I mean, we played through this demo on a 360, and it still looks great. So I feel like no matter where you buy it, you're gonna be well off. Yeah,
definitely. Visually, it's a pretty consistent experience. So. But yeah, so right there we just picked up the explosive cipher. So that's one of the elemental ciphers that are in the game. So this one does additional damage to enemies. As you can see, I kind of ripped through those guys pretty quickly. Yeah. So yeah, it also provides a damage over time effect as well. So for the bigger enemies that you damage, they'll actually they'll be lit on fire. So like for the mini boss here, he actually is lit on fire.
Yeah,
the fire starts eating away at him.
That's great.
And this fight is kind of an example. Like I fought this guy, just moments ago, and it was a much more time-consuming fight, but just based on the kind of the power-up I had at the time. And kind of keeping with that, Metroidvania style. Once you have the additional power-ups, it makes getting through the gameplay much easier.
Definitely. And I've noticed like a lot of the battles like that, the enemies do have a bite to them. Like this is not something that's just a walk in the park. So, I mean, are you guys looking to, sort of make the experience that can scale both ways to where I just want to be able to sit back on my couch and have a few beers and play through this game, as well as people who really want to kind of dive into the combat system and learn it and master it and have a game that's willing to bite back?
Yeah, I mean, the enemies are definitely not slouches by any means. And actually, for the purposes of this demo, we should note that they've been tuned up a little bit as well, just because we wanted to, because you do have so much more kind of combat options at your disposal in this one. We did sort of tune them to be a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, no, definitely. I think the gameplay and just you're always sort of rewarded for being more deft in the way that you approach combat. So it's definitely there's room to kind of really master it, and there's definitely rewards for doing so. Sure.
That's definitely something that harkens back to any of us who grew up playing games on the NES or Sega or SNES.
Oh, for sure,
games that weren't afraid to punish you and kind of force you to really learn their systems and master them.
Yeah, and I should note the cipher does sort of retain the you can swing it as fast as you can push the button. So
that's awesome.
That was one of the classic things about Strider. So that is alive and well in this one.
Yeah, this is the first time. So this is sort of a big boss fight, and it comes across as a big event. Is that something that we, that's kind of to be expected throughout the game? Is when you get to a boss, you're going to know you're at a boss because this is like a massive sort of cinematic set piece.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is sort of the first boss fight we're showing. So we kind of teased it at Comic-Con, but this is actually the full kind of reveal, at least for a section of the boss. But yeah, definitely the bosses are a pretty cool part of the experience. The team's done a pretty great job, and we're definitely pleased with this one, but there's lots more to see, so I'm looking forward to showing some of those off.
Yeah, I love the fact that I don't know, it almost comes across as like you're fighting like the Colossus from Shadow of the Colossus, which is
definitely.
Yeah. So this guy has these power cells on his back, and each one sort of when you destroy it, the boss sort of goes into a new phase. So you had that first one where you were going vertically, then you were going horizontally, and now he's just gone crazy and is firing rockets at you. I don't know how
guns pop out of his back.
I'm really impressed. I'm gonna be honest.
That was a pretty solid run, actually.
I think I would have got hit by like 6 or 7 of those. So well done. And then there's this wind that pushes you back.
Yeah. So he'll kind of go into like a speed mode where he pushes you back with the wind.
Yeah.
But yeah, this all kind of ties back into the narrative of the game as well. So Grandmaster Mayo, who I'm sure many people remember for the original games, has done a lot of like biological experiments, and it's this is all sort of more explained in the game, but this is sort of one of those experiments kind of gone wrong. So you essentially have awakened it, and now it's on the loose. So
we can expect there is going to be like a story, like a narrative component to the game. It's not just
absolutely, it's more robust than we got in previous games. So it's a fuller narrative.
And holy crap, look at that!
And there it is.
That is awesome. And then you're going to leave us on a stinger.
And
how dare you?
We had to cut it there.
Tristan, thank you very much. I mean, the game looks awesome. Like we said, coming to those 5 platforms, early 2014.